Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today at the Autobau Museum here beside Lake Constance in Switzerland. Now I didn't really know what to expect coming to visit today, but this is the Super Sport Gallery where we have a number of hypercars, the LaFerrari, the 918, the Carrera GT, the F40, the Bugatti EB110 and plenty more, plus there are some pretty unusual things. We're talking the Celine S7, the Vector W8, the De Tomaso Pantera, BMW M1, and this is just the start. We'll also check out the upstairs and over in the racing galleries where there are Formula 1 cars, NASCARs, dragsters, Porsche 917K, Ferrari 330 GTO. There is a lot to see, so let's explore then here at the Autobau Museum in Switzerland. Let's get started then, taking a look around here where we have the Ferraris, we have the Alfa Romeos, the BMWs, the Porsches, and plenty more. Then we'll head upstairs where we have some more Lamborghinis, including the Miura, plus there's a 2.7 RS, and they have all three generations of the Ford GT side by side, and some obscure cars too. Then we'll go over to the racing section, because I want to show you the Maserati MC12 GT1 race car, one of my favourites. But just take a little look around here. I'll walk around very quickly, then we'll go through the cars in more detail, but things like the Alfa Romeo Giuliettas, the BMW M1 and the E30 at the very back, the Isetta alongside an Aston GT12. I'd like to talk about that colour on the V8 Vantage S, the De Tomaso Honda S800 next to a Performante. Then up this way, of course, we have the Ferraris. And I guess maybe we should start, I know we've seen them before, but with the LaFerrari, or LaFerrari being the Ferrari's latest hybrid hypercar that followed on from the Enzo, the F50, the F40, the 288 GTO, the 963 horsepower hybrid system mated to naturally aspirated V12. Originally 499 cars, went on to be 500. That is actually sat next to the 488 GTB, which is one of the 70th anniversary cars. So they did 70 different liveries across 5 different body styles for a total of 350 cars to celebrate their 70th anniversary, distinct with the badge worn there on the side. This car is obviously black on black, but with the interior demonstrating that black and red contrast on the seats. Now we've got a few other different Ferrari models surrounding us, actually 2 different variations of the Daytona. This is the more regular, I would say familiar GTB 4, and that is the GTC 4, sandwiching a Fiat 500 in the middle. We've got the classics mixed in with the hypercars. So over here, for example, we have the 2 Alfa Romeo Giuliettas. This is a Spyder Veloce. This is a Sprint. Then we've got the Montreal next to the 8C Spyder, which is one of my favourites. The noise of this from the 4.7 litre naturally aspirated V8 is spectacular, especially when you have the roof down to enjoy all of it in its glory. Continuing down through the BMWs, the M1, very iconic car, complete wedge shape to it. And then I think a lot of people's favourites with the BMW M3, the E30 generation of that, with the M stripes over it as well. A couple of different BMWs. That's a 2002 tucked in at the back. The Isetta, the very small little thing. And then an i8 Roadster, just to show you some variety between these different models. Then, of course, one of my favourites, the GT12. I own the GT8, which I guess is the, we could say, almost smaller sibling of this. Only 100 of these ever made. Looks awesome in the silver paintwork with all of the carbon, but 600 horsepower from the V12. Glorious thing. Next to that is this, the V8 Vantage S. Now, this paint colour is cobalt blue, the exact same colour I painted my GT8 in. And the reason I chose it for the GT8 is that that was the launch colour on the V8 Vantage S. I always thought it looked fantastic back at the time. I really wanted one of these. I had a pre-S Roadster. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make it happen back then, but that's why I chose the colour on my GT8. If we come through, we have the Honda NSX tucked in back here, Acura for the American viewers out there, and then some of the Porsches, the Carrera GT, one of the finest cars ever made, sitting next to the 930 Turbo. Unusual brown colour with the brown interior as well, actually on that. And of course, the Weissach package 918 Spyder, plugged in to the hybrid system, keeping it charged up while it's here as well. And the Weissach package always has the carbon fibre roof panels, carbon fibre wing, and those end plates that you can see around the side, as well as the lighter wheels. Then we have the Honda S800, very unusual car, I'd say, actually sitting alongside some of the companions here inside the collection. Before we come to the De Tomaso Pantera, unusual, but starting to see a few of those actually around and about here and there. We've got a Maserati 3500 GT. I'm just going to squeeze around behind. Let's come up towards the Lancia Aurelia, and then the Ferrari Dino sitting here with the roof off. And of course, I didn't mention it, but the F12tdf. Stunning car, stunning colour, one of the greatest cars to drive, in my opinion, and the sound that it makes too. Again, 6.3 litre NAV8, making 780 horsepower and an unbelievable sound out of the back of it. So this is a pretty special way, I would say, to have got our little tour here at Autobau started. Up to the F40, and yeah, amazing display. Coming straight upstairs then, greeted by the 300SL Gullwing alongside the 300SL Roadster. Two of the greatest cars, the 1950s, late 1950s, early 1960s, for the main production of the Roadster especially. We've got things like the two different generations of the Alpine, some more older Porsches around us, the Diablo, the Beetle. In fact, let's just, well, I guess try and go through them all to get down towards the Ford GTs next to the Vector at the far end. But early generation of the Beetle, then we've got a 356, of course. That's pretty much, I think, one of the most iconic classic Porsches. This is the Ensman 506, a bit different for me. We've got a 911S Targa. We've got the 2.7 RS Touring, one of the greatest. Really kind of came before, the GT1, the Carrera GT, one of the most sought after different generations of the Porsches. We've got a Celine S7 twin turbo, which by the way is incredibly long. These were obviously very, very, very powerful, particularly with the twin turbo, 750 horsepower I believe in total, and this paint colour is really nice too. This way we've got the Viper GTS ACR, I think it's 2002 that car. Before, check these out, the three different Ford GTs, GT40, 05 GT, and the new one. Very cool to see the design, actually to look at kind of the shapes, the headlights, that front end, low front end that wraps all the way around. Very, very similar between the different generations, but obviously some changes along the way. The Le Mans history back in 1966, 67, 68, 69 of the GT40s, the 05 being introduced for Ford's 100th anniversary. Fun thing, 100, 100 years in the headlight there, and then of course the new car on the 50th anniversary of the race success back in 1966. Launched, one of which I'm lucky to own myself. Next to them, we have the Vector W8. This is a very unusual thing. You don't see many Vectors. I think there are about 20 in total around the world. I've seen a couple of them in collections, but very much that iconic wedge shape. Just look at it, actually, it's got things quite futuristic to have a supercar with a glass roof panel. This is really unusual. I know there's quite a fan club behind them. Look how wide the back of that car actually is. So next to that, we actually have the DeLorean with its stainless finish on the outside as well. Coming through, we've got the Porsche 914. That's nose to nose with the Porsche 912. And like I said, the two different generations of the Alpine, the original and the new car, sitting side by side. And you can see how much they stay true to that earlier design when they released the new car, the extra headlights in the front bumper, and just a more modern take on the paint colour, going with the blue, the 300 SLs, Diablo, all very, very nice. And then the Miura, which I've referred to in the past, basically is the Lamborghini I would buy. I've always been pretty mind blown by these. I think it looks really, really nice, especially in yellow with the gold wheels, which I wouldn't normally think would work, but that actually does. The car looks great. There are also other things around. Look at this. Look at some of the things hanging on the wall, the wire frames down there, and then that view too, down towards the other cars. This is a really cool collection. I haven't yet touched on, let's say, the model cars that are all on display. You guys know how much I love this kind of thing. Look at that, all the Beetles, the Porsches. That's actually awesome, all the way to the GT1, 911 GT1 race cars of the different generations. I always love looking at these kind of things. What do we have over towards this side in this display? Even some Martini trucks. This is cool, this is really cool. McLaren F1 cars. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Oh, 935s I can see as well. Yeah, really, really nice. And there's even some glass through to the lower cars, which is always a great way to present things. So we haven't yet been to the racing side of this, and believe me, that is probably even more special than what we've seen so far. Have a look here then, one of the first rooms filled with racing cars, and there is a very special display actually to go and see through the back. Downstairs we've got the classic salon we'll check out too, but just have a look at some of the cars from different eras that we have around here, starting right in front of us I guess, with the Porsche 917K replica in the Golf livery, one of the best looking race cars I think ever. We've also got the 330 GTO replica, the 330 being the big brother to the 250 GTO, which I'm sure many of you will know is one of the rarest and most valuable cars in the entire world. The Alfa Romeo Giulia TZ, we've got the Lancia Stratos, we've got a 964 RSR, we've got a Ferrari 512M, the dragster behind to see some of the variety. That's a 512 LM Silhouette Le Mans car, some of the memorabilia as well, check that out, the race suits that are hanging on the wall, and just the different cars and even engines that are on display all around, even a Volvo S60. You kind of get some of the variety that there is here, but this is where it gets really special with the Formula One cars as we come past the display. Again here, even the trophies on display there in the cabinet. Up the podium, though, we've got to come to get up to the very top, even some much smaller scale cars, to come and check out this. What a display and presentation. Alan Prost Renault F1 car from 1983, the Lara Indy car in the centre, Corvette race car, surrounded by some very, very special stuff. F1 cars, you name it. Look at this, and we've got a few different levels. There are more cars and parts you can see down below. Red Bull F1 or something down there as well, we'll go check out in a second. And even above us, actually, let's go up first, because up here, oh, we've got a 911, is that RSR in front of us too? Yeah, look at this, what a stunning place. What an amazing, amazing array of cars. But I'm going to come straight through, beelining through, over the glass to show you this. The Maserati MC12 GT1, FIA GT1 series race car from 2005. What a thing, what a thing. Next to it, Porsche RS Spyder, also pretty cool as well. Yeah, this is really, really quite a special display and collection of cars. Wow, just wow. Have a look inside here. The Sauber race cars, the models of the Mercedes Le Mans cars. This is insane. We've got cars from the likes of Jacques Villeneuve, Felipe Massa, Giancarlo Fisichella, Nick Heidfeld. This is really, really special, this room. Jean Alesi. Wow, 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 wow. Johnny Herbert. I was reading the plaques as we go around and taking some of this in. Sauber 93. Goodness me, goodness me. And of course the powertrain setup back there. Another engine just here. Oh, this is special. Coming down then into the classic salon, and here we have some of the American cars, lots of the British cars, the MGs, the Jaguars, some of the French cars as well. Oh, and check this out, very reminiscent of a former member of my garage, a British Racing Green Classic Mini. Just like the Schmini, with the contrast silver roof, the silver mirrors, the silver stripes on the bonnet. It's also a sport pack with the wider arches, the different wheels, and having those 4 lights on the front. But this is very clean. This is immaculate. It really makes me want to have another one again at some point in the future to rewear the 87 TB number plate, which I certainly hope I will. At the back, we've got a Triumph, we've got a Ford Thunderbird, Cadillac convertible, Chevrolet Impala, the Citroen 2CV and the DS, Corvette C1, the 2 Mustangs, the Cobra, that's an AC Bristol, some MGs, Austin Healey, the Jags, the XK120, the XK120C and the E-Type. Yeah, this is all really pretty cool. Plus, there's also a jukebox in the corner. And I come through here. Oh look, they've got a Cobra original chassis up on the wall too. I love these kind of things to have in a collection. The rear section of a Bel Air, and now a comfy seat out of it. Plus, there is a track, and there are also simulators and things tucked in here as well, which is all pretty cool. And some random bonnets or hoods of cars. Yeah, this is a nice place to visit. Back into the Supersport gallery. I'm going to come through here because there is something else I wanted to show you on the floor, just beyond the Daytona here. How cool is that, to embed some models underneath the glass of the floor? These are the kind of details I would love to incorporate into my future garage, but this is a very special place, a very, very, very awesome collection, a variety of different cars, and presented all nicely in here too. So I think that is pretty much it for my visit today to the Autobau Museum here in Switzerland. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this. A bit of a surprise for me. I didn't quite know what to expect. Certainly didn't imagine all of these and all of the race cars, that's for sure. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate your support as always. Do be subscribed for plenty more, but that's it for this time. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.